CMJ's Epic Quest. 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 CMJ's Epic Quest.
Hey everybody, welcome back to D&J's Epic Quest. I am Justin, and joining alongside me here is...
HC Newell.
Ooh, same tab. You guys owe each other a Coke, and cannot talk until I say so.
This is going to be a boring episode, Justin. And I feel
I
like
don't know.
I got my name out there just before HC did.
I guess
No, you said it after me on my screen.
Oh, well, I said it before you on my screen. I don't know. Weird how the internet works.
I don't believe you.
Okay, well, for those of you that heard them at the same time and may not understand who is who, joining alongside me is Dren, or Derek, as well as HC Newell in the house.
Did that just mess up for anybody else, or was it just me?
We didn't hear anything we're doing.
I thought you were just giving us the silent treatment for a moment there. That's all.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
y'all
oh,
were
she's
just
just
like,
giving us the silent treatment.
Oh.
No, it froze. You know I'm never silent. If I give you a silent treatment, you know something's wrong.
That's why we waited. We're like, well,
yeah, I'm like,
Let's
okay.
be real.
There's no awkward pauses with HC because she's usually talking. So, but yeah, you were just sitting there and you were like,
yeah, the thing keeps.
You're looking at the screen, and then it was quiet, and we're like, maybe she's really not going to speak until Justin says so.
When does she ever listen to me?
That is true.
Well, maybe.
How have you guys been?
Maybe we turn off our videos so there's not the hickey uppies.
Yeah, we might need to do that. Although I like the videos. Oh,
it's me, Amadio. All right, fine. I kind of like the video too.
Never look at it anyway.
Fine, I'll do it.
He doesn't even know that my video is turned back on, but he loves the videos.
Right, exactly.
I'm watching you right now.
Gross.
It's like a game of like weird tic-tac-toe right now. Like I'm just watching cameras turn on and off. Like, oh, Justin's back. Oh, HE's back. Oh, I'm gone.
All right, let's go. Hopefully it won't keep messing up because it was definitely being really laggy for me.
Yeah.
It sounds better already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how have you guys been?
I would say I'm all right. Nothing really new to report on, I guess.
Well, that's good.
Without the video, it's kind of awkward. I don't know when you're pausing for me to talk or not.
It's okay.
No, this is like the world's worst phone call.
Just, extra editing. It's fine.
I've been good, though. I started my new job like 20th of December. And it's going really good. It's still in my profession, which is medical coding and billing. And it's so chill. Like, it's just so relaxed. We don't have a dress code, so we can just go in. They said, like, we can just walk in our pajamas if we want to. Some people go in sweatpants. And I have a pair of slippers that I wear at the office because my feet get really cold. So like we just like chill and it's really nice. But I'm kind of bummed because I wanted to win like the Indie Ink Awards or at least be nominated or whatever. I got nominated, but I forgot to tell everybody to vote for me, so I'm not a finalist, and I'm kind of bummed about it.
There's always next year.
Yeah.
Or some other award.
Yeah, it's because they only gave 2 weeks once you were nominated to get people to vote, and I thought we had until the end of January. So I got on a few days ago, and I was going to start promoting it because now I have time to do that because I have, I've been kind of MIA for a while. And I saw that everybody's posting that they're finalists, and I was like, oh, that sucks.
Well, bummer.
I know the voting ended at the end of December. I thought it was the end of January. I don't know why. It's all right. I'm a little bummed about it, but keep
You're
on
only
going.
a month off.
You're right. I'm starting on
a year off, even. Well, I'm glad the new job is going good. I had been meaning to ask, but I was hoping just to wait till we recorded to do that. So glad to hear it's going well, and it sounds like you like it. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, and it makes the same as my old job, which is great. The only downside is a really small company. It's about 15 minutes from here, from my house. I could have gotten a work from home job because I got offered one. I kind of liked getting out of the house because I've had a work from home job for like 6 years. So I wanted to try something different. The only thing that kind of sucks though is it's a small company. There's only like 10 employees. So there's no like health insurance and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm going to have to get on my husband's health insurance, I guess. Hopefully it'll be affordable.
Well, hopefully you got some options there. Or just don't get sick or hurt or,
Right. I always thought it was illegal to not have health insurance, or not really illegal, but like they taxed you on it. I always thought that, but apparently that's not the case. Like you can just not have health insurance and there's no penalties for it.
I thought there was for a little bit, and then I think I don't know if Trump repealed it or what, but I think Obama had something like that for a while. But
yeah, like Obamacare, like you had to have Obamacare if you didn't have insurance. I remember that. And I know at one of those points, my husband, a long time ago, he lost his job and he lost his insurance because he didn't have a job and we got taxed on it. So that's why ever since then, that was in like 2010 or something. And so ever since then, I've always been like, we have to have insurance. They're going to charge us money. It was like a monthly fee. And then we had to pay it all back whenever taxes came back in or whatever. It was annoying.
Well, I'm going to get fucked on taxes this year, so there's not going to be any refund here.
I don't know why.
Well, we don't get to claim our kids this year. Their other parents will claim them, so we'll get hit hard. Last year that happened, or I guess it would be 2 years ago when the last time we didn't claim our kids. We had about a $7,500 tax bill, which is still being paid today. So yeah, that's a hole we're not digging out of. It's just going to go deeper.
Dang, that sucks. That's so much.
Yep.
That's why we got to eat the rich.
Right.
Because, they've got 13 yachts and don't pay any taxes on any of them.
Right. Like my boss, he lives in a very, very, he's rich. Like he lives in a really, really wealthy neighborhood, which is really close to where I live. So that's why I know. And he was showing us like the health insurance plans that we could get. It was like $1,000 a month for me and my husband. And I just looked at my boss when he showed me that. And he was like, this is good. This is great. And I was like, you know how much you pay me. Like, I cannot afford this. Will you get out of here?
That'd be like half my paycheck. Like,
yeah,
that's
what I'm saying. I'm like, you know how much I get paid. Like, I cannot afford this. Like, please. He's just, just like out of touch. It's just insane.
Yeah.
But anyways, now that we're complaining about the rich people. When I become rich, you guys can complain about me all you want.
I will. I will make a point to complain about you more than anybody else.
Okay, good. I give you permission.
I didn't need it.
Oh, wow.
Well, I give it anyway.
Remember that arrogant comment I said?
What's that?
Remember that arrogant comment?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, should we talk about these 2 chapters? Oh, I was going to bring something up. I don't know. We do it now or at the end, but maybe we'll just do it now. I was kind of mapping out how things are looking for this book. And we're going to have to do one of 2 things, guys and gal.
Uh-oh.
We will either need to cover 3 chapters at some point. So then the rest of the episodes, we can cover 2. Or if we continue on with just doing 2, we're going to end up doing 1 chapter. And I assume would be the last chapter would be the 1. I don't know what makes more sense or what you guys think, but
I think doing 1 chapter at the end so that we could talk about the book after might be a good idea.
I concur. That's exactly my thoughts.
I guess I kind of felt like it might be fun to do 3 at some point, but that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. When we get there,
I mean,
we're not
3
taking
would be
it far
fun, but
off.
our episodes already run so long anyway. I feel like that'd be extra super long. And it could, I mean, the last chapter is pretty intense. So I think the last chapter would be really good on its own. And then it gives us plenty of time to kind of go and talk about everything else. But there's also an epilogue. So we could also include that if you wanted to. I mean, it's the first chapter of the next book, but you can also read it as an epilogue. It works either way.
Wait, what? Is it in this physically in this book?
It's in the paperback.
Oh, well,
it might not be in the collectors. It is in the paperback, though.
There's no epilogue in the collectors?
It might not, because it's the first chapter of book 2, and it can be read as the first chapter or as an epilogue. It works either way. That's why I put it at the end. So
I guess my vote on that would be to leave it for book 2.
Whatever you want to do. Because it is the first chapter, so, but again, it can work either way.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, no, I think that sounds good, and that's why I wanted to ask. So, yeah, we'll do 1 chapter for the last episode of the book then.
Perfect. Sounds good. And we can talk about it, and we can talk about reading book 2, because I know y'all are so excited.
I'm excited to, it's always fun and exciting to like put one book down and move on to another one.
These conversations aren't going the way I planned because I can't look at Justin's face and see him rolling his eyes at me. Yay! I'll just have to pop in every once in a while and just be like, so excited. I know you are.
Exactly. Being as frank as I can here, doing 2 books at a time is a lot of work. So I think that we may, because I know that we have a short story coming up after Memories of Ice, which is like 100 pages or so. So I think that maybe we knock that out and then come back to Forbidden Realms or move on to the 4th one.
Yeah, I definitely don't want y'all to feel like you're forced or whatever to read my books, because I know it's a lot, and doing all these podcasts and summaries and stuff has got to be a lot on your plate. So don't feel like because I'm coming on to the show or whatever, and that you have to keep reading it. If y'all need a break, it's completely fine. We'll still be friends. Don't worry.
All right.
Well, we got time to figure it out, and like Justin said, I mean, there's stuff. I mean, I think we're both pretty open to like trying different things, formats, and seeing what works. And like, I mean, like Justin's text me, we've learned a lot from one of the other books that we did. We read an aliens book, and we did it in like 2 chunks, which was a massive mistake. But I mean, we didn't know, and then we learned. So one of those things. You just got to trial and error, basically.
Yeah, I just don't want y'all to feel like you're having to rush through or force yourself, to do this with me on the show or with my book, because I wish you could see my face.
All right.
But seriously, though,
it's not a matter of like, yes, we're a little busier than we anticipated, but we still want to do both books justice, if that makes sense. I feel like it would be unfair to just like, oh, now we're done with Curse and then just leave it in the dust, So we definitely want to make sure that it gets the time of day that it deserves. So, yeah.
It is very well put, Justin.
Yeah, I definitely don't want it to feel like, you guys are in the groove and you're getting home from work and you're doing Malazan or whatever, and then you're just like, oh, we gotta do Curse of the Fallen too. I don't want it to come to that.
No, not at all. I would let you know if that were the case.
Okay. Yeah,
Honestly, I
won't
feel a
know.
little bit the opposite because like Malazan's like, fuck, this chapter's 60 pages long. The font's the size of ants. My sections account for 3/4 of this goddamn chapter. I'm like, oh, HC's 10 pages. Perfect. I can knock that out in like an hour and a half. This will be awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know how
Like
it
I
happened.
love doing the Malazan, but like, oh, it can be a lot sometimes. Like Justin's been bent over a few times on some of these chapters.
Right.
Man,
Yeah,
like
with the
there's
4, 5, 6 hour fucking long episodes that I have to edit. Yeah, you betcha.
Oh my God.
yeah.
I don't know how it happened because I don't plan out like my word count. I just kind of write, and whenever the chapter ends, it ends. That's how I do my books. I don't even pay attention to word count. But whenever I'm going back and doing my glossary, every single chapter, like 90% of my chapters are 10 pages long exactly. Like almost every one of them are 10 pages long. I don't know how it happened. And I'm just like, but it's perfect. I hate long chapters. I want them to just be short, sweet, to the point, because I need to finish a chapter before I can put the book down. And I don't want it to be really long because then I'm just going to have to be sitting there just trudging along to finish it, you know?
I try to do that too. But honestly, like sometimes, like if I'm really into it, I don't mind a longer chapter. But yeah, like if it's just dragging on, yeah, it can be tough. But yeah, yours are definitely at that kind of sweet spot where like I get sucked in, and then I'm there at the end, and then I've got the next one, and then I got to wait a week or a week and a half, whatever it is, until I can read the next two.
And the thing about my chapters too, though, is that they all kind of end on cliffhangers. So like they're short, but they aren't in a way, because you're like, oh crap, now I gotta keep going so I know what's happening next. Some people have complained to me about that. They're like, I wish you would not end every chapter with a cliffhanger. I'm like, sorry.
Well,
my bad. I want you to keep reading.
I haven't felt like, oh man, like I gotta wait a week to read it. Like I've felt content. Like and obviously, like if I'm restraining myself for this format that we have. Otherwise, yeah, I would have no problem reading on. But I'm not like in like a rage or anything that I gotta like stop and wait a little bit.
Yeah, some people complain. I'm just like, okay, sorry. So
Live your life.
All right,
Well,
let's get this show on the road, people.
There's always the banana stand. Justin, you're gonna take the Silverstones?
I believe that is yours. Since
Is it?
I do the the Patreons during the curse episodes.
Okay. Well, I feel out of practice. Jesus, I wasn't ready for this, Justin. Before we get started with these summarizations of HCE's book on chapters 21 and 22, I'd like to take a moment and thank and recognize Silverstone's books. Check out their website. If you happen to be in the Nebraska area, take a trip to their store. They've got a big selection of fantasy books, sci-fi, horror. I think they've got some like young adult stuff now too, maybe even some graphic novels if those are your things, candles. I think he's getting some tea from a neighboring store. I don't know if that'll be online or just in the store, but a bunch of stuff. So it's cool to see him grow. I think, well, I guess not exclusively indie authors. He's got some traditionally published stuff. I know I've seen Gardens of the Moon and Deadhouse Gates on there. Kevin's given us a promo code for 10% off your purchase, and that is DJ Quest. So check out their website, pick up a book, and save a little cash while supporting indie authors. That's all I've got to say about that, Justin.
That's all I got to say about that. All right. Well, on to our patrons. In order of subscription here, we've got Jan the Picker of Pies, Luciana Tregan, Ryan the Topological, Damien the Rock of Faces, Nate, Fiddle Me This, and then Shield Anvil the Dylan.
Or as HC likes to call Jan the Picker of Good Books.
Yes. Great books.
Jan the Picker of Good Books.
Because he likes my book, so it's now Great Books.
Woot, woot.
I love Jan. He needs to come on to the channel with us one day and do an episode. Maybe like toward the end, we can have him on for the final chapter. The last big huzzah.
Do you have a character in mind for him to be?
He can be Cloud.
Ooh, Justin.
Ooh.
Well,
Having that ripped right off from under your feet. Ouch.
No,
I'm Avalok.
What?
I've been doing Avalok because you said I sounded like Batman.
Oh, yeah.
And now I have to remember how to recreate that voice.
You better get on it. He sounds like Ragnar, not Batman.
That's funny.
Well,
I can't remember.
Justin, you ready to start us off here with chapter 21?
Yeah, 1 second. I lost my spot.
I haven't even done
Well,
anything.
damn
Watch the
it.
spot.
All right. So, chapter 21. Title is Porsder. And the epilogue here for the lost.
The
Sorry,
epilogue of
epigraph. Epigraph. We were talking about
okay.
the epilogue.
I
Yeah,
was confused.
leave me alone.
The epilogue of chapter 19.
Right. Yeah. Epigraph for chapter 21 here. For the lost, the weary, the broken. You may call this place your home. Broken Order Brotherhood. Or Bob.
Bob.
Bobby.
Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
God damn it, Bobby. Anyway, Derek, you're going to do Avalok again.
I will shame myself, but yes.
Do you remember how you did his voice?
More or less.
Trial and
We'll see
error.
what happens. It might be different.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Near sat at the table in her small home and slurped her favorite chicken liver stew. She swallowed a spoonful and then caught notice of Avalok's disgust as he sat across from her.
What?
Repulsive creatures.
I can understand you, you know.
He cut her a sideways glare and then leaned forward with his hands together. While Near and Avalok sat in an uncomfortable silence, Cloud rested by the hearth on a stool as he read Azale's note, which he often did during his time alone.
Who is Azale?
How do you?
I've read the letter.
Of course you did. She's my sister.
Your sister? You don't seem too involved in her rescue.
There's no redemption in false hope. She's going to die. Going to Namashel won't make a difference.
But stopping the Nasir will.
The trials are dangerous. We will most likely die before reaching the cave, and even then, it's only a slim chance the potion will work. I'd rather spend my time tracking the person who killed her. It won't keep her alive, but it will keep others from dying.
Do you not care about her at all?
Of course I do. I may not cry over her letters each night, but that does not mean I don't carry pain.
You'd rather hunt her killer than keep her alive.
I love her, but I know there is nothing I can do to save her.
We're going to the trials. Don't you think that matters? You think she'll die regardless.
Yes,
That's a bit harsh.
it is the truth. There is nothing anyone can do to change it. Cloud has deluded himself into believing this curse will change things, but her path was set long ago. Even if she's to be cured of this curse, she won't live another year. It's just the way it is. He knows it, but he won't accept it.
If that's what you believe, then why are you joining us?
He turned to his friend, who had become so lost in his misery, he hadn't caught a word of their conversation.
We're Brenavas. If it is my help he needs, then I will give it. I won't lose them both.
Three of us. She had heard mention of the word numerous times, yet hadn't a clue what it meant.
This is so much harder because I can't see you guys right
I know, it is. It does make it different.
Brothers, we do not share blood, but we are family.
Having hope isn't a bad thing, Avalok. Sometimes it's all that someone has.
And what of those who don't?
Their eyes met, and she was surprised to find that he was no longer angry or hostile. Something different lingered in his eyes, something broken and hollow. She started to feel sad for him, pity even. Her gaze shifted when Avalok turned to Cloud, and they watched as his eyes closed and head bobbed as he dozed off. It had been days since any of them had a full night's rest, and it showed in the deep circles beneath his eyes. Near set her spoon aside and carefully led Cloud to her bed, where he sank into the feather mattress and quickly fell asleep. She grabbed a coat from her dresser and walked through the home to the door. As she slipped into her boots, she glanced at Avalok and asked,
Would you care to walk with me?
He gave her an inquisitive look before slowly standing and coming to her side. As they stepped outside, Near breathed in the cool night air.
I've spent most of my life here. Almost half my life here. I came when I was 14. I don't remember much of my life before that. So this is the only home I've ever really known.
Avalok didn't speak. though Near didn't mind as she was lost in her memories. It had been several months since she had seen her home, and she was glad to be in a familiar, safe place. They made their way to a beautiful garden.
Do you have places like this in Indira? She asked, referring to the forest where the elves reside.
No,
You aren't one for talking, are you?
no.
I suppose I'm not used to the quiet anymore. Before I came here, I was alone like you. I didn't have a family or friends. Lorik saved me. He brought me here, and once I realized that not all people are as evil as I thought, I started to see the world much differently.
Near glanced at Avalok with a knowing look. Her eyes shifted to the path as she sniffed some flowers and then continued on till they reached a large courtyard with wooden stalls of trinkets, wares, and weapons. In the center of the open plaza stood an enormous tree with glowing blue daffodils and thistleweed bulbs sparkling along the branches. The two moons shined in the night sky, covering the world with a bright glow. Near touched the tree and closed her eyes. Warm energy tingled her skin. With a smile, she knelt in the garden surrounding the tree trunk, and Avalok quietly followed.
This has always been my favorite place. After sunset, when the world was quiet, I would sneak out and find myself here. It's the only place I've ever found peace.
Avalok was silent as he admired the gardens. His eyes followed a bulb as it floated past him and illuminated his face with a soft glow. He touched the plant, and it gently bounced away into the sky.
Have you ever seen a tree like this before?
This is a ko helao. They're very sacred. Are you okay?
I have trouble pronouncing that word. I actually had to practice it. I don't even know how to pronounce a word that I created. I literally just I put letters and apostrophes, and it just became a word. Literally how I made that word. Anyways.
I forgot the last syllable.
Kokolu.
Her face twisted as she attempted to say the long and difficult Elvish word, and she was surprised to find Avalok softly smiling at her horrid mispronunciation.
Don't make fun of me.
He hid his smile, though she could see the amusement in his eyes. She was glad to find he wasn't as angry or hostile as he led her to believe. Near said that there was something she wanted to show him, and to follow her. They walked quietly through the streets and into another district of town. Her eyes moved to the homes of her friends, who had since grown and left the village. She led Avalok down a passage between two small homes and to a large field of practice dummies and archery targets.
I would train in this field. Ryman had me out here for hours. It was torture.
Avalok asked who Ryman was.
My teacher, more like my father, really. He took me in and taught me everything. Magic, history, language, even taught me how to fight. He's from Nindira too, said to have moved here about 75 years ago.
Avalok was intensely quiet, and Near turned to him curiously. He was tenser, with darkness that shielded his once vulnerable eyes.
Avalok, what does he look like?
What?
Avalok?
What does he look like?
What?
Does he have dark hair and a black marking on his face?
No, he has light hair, no markings that I'm aware of.
It is nothing.
You were thinking he's the man you're searching for.
It would have been too convenient, but I had to be sure.
I suppose I'd be suspicious of that too. But Ryman has raised me almost half my life. He's a good person.
The Nasir hates Lanathes more than anything. He'd never live among you. He's probably hiding in a cave or an abandoned village somewhere.
What's Lanathes?
Avalok stepped to a box of old sparring weapons and absently shuffled through them.
It's another word for human, such as elf is to Eve.
She was filled with shame as she suddenly realized how often she had used that word around him. As their conversation ended, she set her gaze to the training ground and approached a hay bale target across the field. She collected several arrows from their places around the bullseye and then collected the child-sized bow lying on a bench nearby. Standing in position, she prepared to strike the target. It was awkward using a bow so small, but it wouldn't matter, as she had always been less than coordinated with it anyway. Drawing back the arrow, she released it, watching as it flew several yards to the left of the target before striking into the dirt. With a frustrated exhale, her shoulders relaxed, and she looked at Avalok.
I've always been shit with the bow. Ryma would make me stay in these wretched fields for hours until I hit the target.
Avalok stepped closer and reached for the bow in her hands. She politely offered him the weapon and then stepped aside. He inspected it with a grimace.
What is it?
Nothing.
Tell me.
He glanced at her before drawing back the arrow and releasing it at the target. Hay shifted as it struck up just above the bullseye. He passed her the bow.
It isn't surprising you had a hard time hitting the target with a weapon of such poor quality.
What? This was made by our best bowyers.
His eyes glowered with condemnation. Nier ignored his silent ridicule and placed the bow back onto the bench. She then turned to the nearby home and placed her hands on her hips. Her eyes followed the vine-covered trellis to the second-story roof, and she smiled before climbing up. Avalok stood on the ground, watching her with a curious eye. She paid him no mind as she moved upward and then crawled onto the gabled roof. The home rested at the highest point of the village, allowing her to see far into the distance and beyond the stone walls guarding the city. She pulled up her knees and admired the homes spread throughout the community. The trellis creaked as Avalok climbed at the top and came to Nier's side. She smiled as he got comfortable and overlooked the town below.
I used to come here at night. I'd watch the people in their homes, having dinner, playing with their families, being normal. I don't remember much of my family. It's been so long since they died. The faces are just a blur. Sorry. I'm not trying to get personal.
He inhaled a deep breath and kept his eyes on the streets below. Not wanting the conversation to end, Nier asked why Azael was cursed. Avalok was silent for a moment, and Nier had believed he wouldn't answer at all, as his eyes slowly moved from one home to the next.
The Nasir is threatened by her. She's the last living descendant of the First Blood. He's a man of power and vengeance. Killing her would give him a sense of pride and power among his people.
His people?
He's of the Claytil clan. Blah. They value strength and power above all else. The First Blood are treated as royalty by non-humans. And with her being the last, she's extremely respected and honored.
If she's your sister, aren't you First Blood too?
Yes, but it's complicated.
Well, whatever the case, we'll get through this and save her. In fact, that's why we're here.
She gave him a sly look before climbing down the roof and stepping around the home to the front porch. Digging through the garden, she found the lockpicks she hid years ago. Though Ryman had his doors open for her any time she needed, she sometimes liked to sneak in when he was away and sleep in her old room. Avalok came to her side as she slid the picks into the lock and opened the door. They hurried inside and secured the door behind them. Using a flint, she ignited several scones and brightened the spacious room. A large desk sat at the back with papers, books, and scrolls scattered across its surface, cabinets and shelves. She smiled while peering at her old home. The familiar scent of fresh ink lingered in the air, while old parchments lay scattered beneath the gentle dance of candlelight. It was comforting and safe. A stairway along the right side wall led up to Ryman's large room, while two doors to the left led to the kitchen and her old bedroom.
Don't touch anything. He'll notice.
How? This place is filthy.
Trust me, it's got to be here.
What are we looking for?
The glass eye is a small clear rock encased in an iron pendant.
Wooden planks creaked beneath their feet as they scurried across the room, searching every crevice and box they could find.
Found it. It was on the desk the entire time.
She looked across the room and found that she was alone. She called Avalok's name. Her gaze shifted to the soft stream of firelight flickering from her old bedroom door. Curious, she stepped inside and found Avalok admiring a weapon on the wall. She explains that this was her old room, and she hasn't been in here in ages. Old books, clothes, and wooden swords rusted in their places on the shelves, just as they had always been. Avalok scanned the old furniture and weapons. He touched a small woven circle hanging on the wall before turning his gaze back to the weapons rack, which held a beautifully crafted longbow.
That never saw much use, unfortunately.
It is Avish.
Really?
So is the Tiavan.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yes, fist bump.
She raised an eyebrow, and he pointed at the woven circle. The handcrafted piece was made of twisted sticks, bent iron, and a small red stones that she foolishly believed to be jewels when she crafted it long ago. She took it from the wall and held it in her palm. Her eyes were set on the Tiavan when his gaze was focused on her, while his gaze was focused on her.
Ryman always told me these bring peace to those who are lost. I always believed it would work too. I'd just lie in my room staring at it, wishing for things to change, for peace to come. Then I'd wake the next morning and things were the same. I wanted to smash it to pieces, but I couldn't. Whatever hope I had for it to work overpowered the anger that knew it wouldn't.
My mother made one for me when I was young. I believed it would work too. I guess the naivety of children is common among us all.
She stared longingly at the Tiavan and remembered the comfort it brought as she wished for a better tomorrow. Maybe it was naivety that made her believe things could get better. Even now, as she stood with the stranger, ready to take on life-threatening journey of curing her curse, she was torn by the weight of knowing that this could all end badly, that everything she had been through could be for nothing, that the pain of being labeled a demon, of losing everything, of never being normal, may never leave her.
Child's naivety. Life is cruel and unfair. You want peace, you have to fight for it. That's the lesson he should have taught me.
With a deep breath, she tossed the Tiavan aside. Scanning the room, her eyes fell to a glass jar of clear and clouded crystal shards. She walked across the room and pulled the jar from the shelf. Avalok asked what it was while taking a shard. She carefully snatched it from him.
These are Animaeus, memory shards. They're extremely rare. With the right incantation, you're able to pull you're able to put your memory into one. I don't know why they're being stored in my old room though, or how Ryman came to have so many. I suppose viewing one couldn't hurt. It could be fun to see what he left behind.
How do you use it?
There's no magic in viewing it, only in placing the memory.
She curled the shard within her hands, closed her eyes, and waited as a memory appeared in their minds. An iron door creaked open to reveal a dark and cold room. Blood stained the walls and floor where a young girl lay strapped to a metal table. She wore dirty, blood-soaked rags as she screamed and fought. Long blonde hair hung over the edge of the table, dripping with blood that pooled across the stone floor. Scars, burns, and opened wounds covered her tiny body. The girl screamed and begged for help. The orange metal of hot iron brand glowed in the shadows, illuminating two gloved hands, holding it tight as it was carried nearer. She screamed and thrashed against the restraints that tethered her ankles and wrists to the metal bed. Her frail voice echoed loudly against the stone walls as she pleaded to be released. Strangers wearing black hooded robes stood around her. They looked down at her face, which was cut and bleeding, and she opened her eyes. Teal, green orbs glowing from the redness of her tears, pleaded for her captor to stop. The view fell from her face to the hot iron. Egrandia Cranel Vaknarai, a menacing voice hissed. She begged and pleaded again to stop. Blackness overcame the vision, and the singe of burning flesh was followed by a horrific, agonizing scream. The memory faded, but Nir's eyes were closed tight. Sweat covered her body. But I butchered it. I pretty much butchered the whole thing.
Well, y'all are saying it like they're saying some kind of spell, and he's actually hissing it at someone.
Oh,
like angrily. That's why I said it.
I thought it sounded awesome, Justin.
It does sound good, but it's wrong. It sounds like you're like, "Hey, Grandia Cronel Voknorai!" Like you're about to like do a spell or something.
Yes, that's what I thought it was. So it's all good.
It's okay. I think everyone interprets it that way, but I figured hissed would kind of come across, but it doesn't. So that's my bad.
It's all good.
Grandia Cronel Voknari is kind of how he says it. Like he's mad. He doesn't get louder as he says it.
Got it.
It's okay. I just thought it was funny. Oh, by the way, whoever's listening, my narrator did the dialogue in the exact same way. That's what we're talking about right now. I thought it was funny.
Yes, it got me a chuckle, but all right. She begged and pleaded again to stop. Blackness overcame the vision, and the singe of burning flesh was followed by a horrific, agonizing scream. The memory faded, but Nir's eyes were closed tight. Sweat covered her body as she relived the haunting moments of her past. Neither could she move to breathe as she clutched the shard. Slowly, her eyes opened. She stared at her hands, gripping the shard so tight, she feared it may crack. Misty eyes looked at Avalok. His anger was replaced by something worse, something she never wanted from anyone: pity. Through a bitter sigh, she wiped her eyes and concealed her grief. With a hard sniff, she rushed through the home and stepped into the cool autumn night.
Yay!
Nice job. Nice
We did
job,
it.
folks.
We butchered some of those Avish words, but that's all right.
Yeah,
I think we did pretty good.
I would say so. I would definitely say so.
Yeah,
I don't-
especially for not meeting for so long.
Right, yeah. I don't know about you, Derek and HC. I'm sure this was not your intent at all, just basically knowing you. But this whole chapter I thought was like one big long date, like with
I mean,
a happy ending at the end. You know?
it kind of was in a way. Like they are spending a lot of time together. It's all like nice and sweet, and they're on a rooftop.
Right. I just got like the feeling of romance.
You're supposed to.
Oh,
I did not pick that up.
I was not expecting that.
It
I was not expecting to be right.
it's all up to reader interpretation too, because nothing's outwardly expressed and there's no romantic feelings between them, but it's definitely more like intimate chapter between them for sure. Intimate in the way of them not, having feelings for each other, but just opening up and kind of being more comfortable around each other and actually acting like friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess, looking back at it, it was kind of a different interaction of Bellic than we've seen thus far, I feel like. But I definitely didn't pick that up at the time, Justin, so thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, no problem.
In the update, so like in the first version, I guess, edition of the book, which is how the audiobook still is, after Near and Avalok go to that tree and they sit and she talks about how she's always felt peace, at the little magical tree or whatever. Right after that, they go straight to Ryman's house and they go straight inside. So the whole thing with like the bow and arrow thing and them on the roof, none of that even happens in the first edition. So I added a little bit extra stuff.
Interesting. So it's just kind of like adding in that filler that you have been talking about.
Yeah, there's a lot of Avalok filler that has been added into the second edition that was not in the first edition. Like them even just veering off the side of the road in previous chapters whenever the order was coming and they had to get off, and then her and Avalok are kind of like spitting back and forth at each other and then all that stuff that never even happens in the first edition. So there's a lot of like important things that happen that are missed in the first edition.
Well, I feel like it's definitely a good addition, and I'm hoping you feel the same way, especially after the turmoil and kind of the confrontational nature between the two characters in the previous two chapters. It's kind of nice to see them get along and maybe even have some interest in each other, if that's the right word.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Just like slower moments.
Some feelings cultivating there between the two. So Loric's version is slowly coming to fruition, I guess you could say.
Read, find out. Listen, I have a major crush on Avalok, so if he doesn't become the love interest, I'm gonna be really upset. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I mean, you're the author. You're the only one who could dictate that.
Hey, it's not up to me, okay? It's up to him. Is he gonna like her? I don't know.
Why is it always up to the dude?
Because no, it's not up to me. It's up to them, not him. I guess them.
Who's them? Your readers?
Near and Avalok. It's up to them if they get together.
Gotcha. But who's supposed to like hit on who first?
I mean, it just kind of happens naturally, Whoever
Maybe
feels.
Avalok has been burned a lot in the past and is apprehensive to make a move.
Near has literally been burned. We just watched it, so
Oh, that's fair. All right. Okay.
Spicy.
Homegirl needs a break.
I just, for whatever reason, the whole time I was reading this chapter, and just got the like vision that like they were gonna make out at every spot they were gonna go to.
Okay,
like the tree, the rooftop, right? It's night, 2 moons are shining, the flowers, the garden, like it all just was like softcore for me.
Oh my god! I mean, it was supposed to have more of like an intimate feel, but it's because they are not yelling at each other; they're actually treating each other like people. So
Respectfully.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I mean, again, not the intent, just purely just telling you what I imagined while reading this chapter. That's all.
Thank you for that
Yeah.
lovely visual.
You're welcome. Anytime. Hey, you did it first in Lorik's little rendition in this book. So
That was Lorik. It wasn't me. Near almost
you're the
judged me for it.
author.
Listen, I'm the author, but I can't make Cloud do that. It won't work. They dictate what they do, not me.
I mean, I guess Cloud could get in on it. Oh, they're Bravane. Yeah.
Read your comments.
All right, I will. Fine. So what I thought was really cool is Avalok is like kind of explaining, his sister, right? Like we could get to find out, like, hey, it's his sister, right? And when Avalok is telling her that she's the last living descendant of the First Blood, Nia recalls that the First Blood was meant to be or is the Enclave, who were the ancient race that kind of vanished without a trace, so to speak. And I just thought that this was really good because I was not expecting any of that. And I just love how that we got some like inside little like informational tidbits on Azale here. And it kind of makes sense to me a little bit why Nasir would want her dead.
You can't see me doing my evil finger wiggle laugh thing.
I can imagine it.
Yeah, you're so frozen I can't even see it. Maybe
I froze like that.
you need to take your hair dryer and use it on the computer.
Every time I do the video, it messes with my internet, so I'm just gonna keep my video off.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on.
It's all good. But yeah, I just thought that was a really cool tidbit. And then also, as one would naturally say, well, if your sister is First Blood, then you must be too. And again, not expecting Avalok to be like, yeah, but it's complicated. So is that like it's complicated because he actually is, but doesn't like to talk about it type of a thing? Or is he like a half First Blood?
Do you want me to tell you? Or do you want me to tell you to read and find out?
Both.
It is the first one. And then you can read and find out why.
Gotcha. When Avalok is talking about Bravane, I can't say it right. Breenave, thank you. Is that like you're my family even though we're not related, or are they actually brothers?
They are not brothers.
So then what's Cloud's relationship to Azale?
Cloud has maybe sort of explained, but all that we know right now is that he just cares a lot about her. So Avalok and Cloud are basically, they're like best friends. And Azale is Avalok's sister. So it would seem that they are close. Probably they got close because Cloud and Avalok are also close. So he could see her as a sister. He could see her as a lover. It would be weird if he saw her as a sister because he acts like he sees her as a lover.
Right. And that's kind of where my canon is focused around. I think that they're married or in a relationship or something like that.
Yeah.
So
all that we
Cloud
know is
and Avalok are bros, and Cloud's banging Azale.
More or less. I think it was you guys that asked or hypothesized Cloud being like her husband or her dad or something like that. But Avalok and Cloud are the same age. It's not said because eBay don't keep up with their ages. And then Azale
clearly too many other things going on.
Yeah, and Azale is younger than them. Cloud and Azale are very close, and Avalok and Cloud are very close. And obviously, it seems like Avalok and Azale are also very close.
Gotcha.
Did I answer your question?
No, I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't have any follow-up thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just go off on these tangents and I don't even answer the question that was asked.
It's fine. It's fine. One of the other things that I thought when Nier is talking to herself in the home and looking at the Tiavan, which I'm assuming is kind of like a dream catcher in some type of way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When she's talking about, a child's naivety, life is cruel and unfair. If you want peace, you have to fight for it. I thought that this was a really powerful statement. And it seems to me, based on just her muttering to herself here, that she's resenting some of the teachings that Ryman has taught her. At least that's kind of like the essence I'm feeling from it. But
well, I mean, that's definitely how it seems. And I'm pretty sure she's already said, I think in this chapter, how he would like force her to stay out there and train all day until her hands would bleed and stuff. But I mean, Nier seems ready to kind of break out of the hold that the order has on her. and she's tired of like holding on to hope, I guess. Like she just needs to fight. She just needs to fight for what she wants. She can't
just
just
needs to
keep
take
like,
action.
yeah, she can't just keep hoping that things are gonna get better. She can't, that's kind of how it was intended, I suppose. You got to fight for what you want. If you want peace, you're gonna have to fight for it. You got to work toward what you want. You can't. It won't just come to you.
I think resentment is probably at the top of that verbiage, but I feel like the message is similar.
Yeah,
I think you need to introduce Near to the Beastie Boys.
I will do
She
that.
got to fight
Book
for her
four.
right to party.
That's right.
Book 5, she's got to have the boombox walking
Let's get
down the street
Laura
in
to
Brooklyn or something.
do a
I
nice
don't know.
song for her.
She had 4 chances to party and she didn't take it.
That's true.
The last thing that I had was just this whole memory shard stuff was really fucking cool. Again, was not expecting that. And the memory that we get, which based on the next chapter, is pretty interesting. But as far as this point in the story, I won't say anything till we move on. It's definitely interesting because we've heard this story before. This was a dream that she had earlier on in the book. And I know that I had some questions about that, and it was cool to a little bit of finality to it. I just thought it was great. I thought it was cool.
Well, thank
I was
Thank
not
you,
expecting that type of memory either.
Yeah. I don't know. Did they? I don't know. Think that they talked about like destroying the memories or anything. That might be brought up later. No, they don't, because she just had the memory shard. But the memory shards are very important to the story and to the series. So it was important to kind of show that she's got this crazy memory that was extracted from her brain, and it's just sitting in a shard in her old bedroom.
Right.
Like that would kind of blow my mind, especially whenever she's expecting it to be one of Ryman's memories, because she didn't even know. I mean, and it may not be her memory. But it was just who was that? Whose eyes is that from? Because she was expecting it to be Ryman's memory, and why would they extract it and put it in her room?
Right.
Seems like got some ill intent going on there.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, why are you doing that in her room too? Rub salt on the wound.
Rub it in.
I'm glad y'all liked it. Getting a lot more intrigue. Getting a little deeper into the story.
Definitely.
It's weird to think that there's only like 130-ish more pages.
Oh yeah. Just all of your questions will not have answers yet. Which is the first book. They shouldn't, but some people
right. Then there'd be no need for a second book. So
yeah. I've had people complain about that too, so I'm just warning y'all. You're not going to have all the answers yet.
It's all good. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. You're reading
Right.
Malazan. You can wait. You know how to wait for answers.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if we know how, but we're learning.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get to answer your questions in my books way before you get your answers in Malazan. So
That's legit.
all right. Well, that was good. I like that chapter. That's actually a lot of people's favorite chapter is the Porster. I think the whole Porster arc, or whatever you want to call it, a lot of people really like it. But I think this one in particular, a lot of people really tell me that
I would agree with that.
this they really likes.
Definitely like a slower pace, which isn't a bad thing. But like so many of these chapters, it's almost like it's go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have something where it slowed down a little bit. And I guess admittedly, I was not quite used to that, which,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't against it, but I would just change of pace was welcome.
Yeah, and I learned a lot. Like I told y'all, I didn't have any slow moments at all. I even thought Curse of the Fallen was too slow. So book 2 is a lot faster than book 1. Just warning you. But in book 3, there's a lot more. It's a lot slower. It's not slow by any means, but it's kind of a good balance. Like with Curse of the Fallen, how it speeds up, and then you have those breaks. Like with this chapter, there's a lot more breaks in book 3. It's very well paced. I love it. So you got to get there because it's really good. But anyway. I was bragging about myself over here.
Well, you should. Are we ready to move on to chapter 22, Echoes of the Past?
Yes, we are.
All right. HC, would you like to do the honors of the epigraph here?
Well, sure.
Memories are windows into the past, meant to be locked and untouched.
Do not be consumed by what once was, or seek to lose all you have. Vethod, the Book of Time.
Is that like a knockoff of the Wheel of Time?
It is not.
All right, just checking. All right,
You'll learn much
well, here
more
we
about
go.
all this stuff. That Vethod is one of the gods, or Vether is one of the gods. So anything with a book, like the Book of Time, the Book of Light, the Book of Darkness.
Those are like books of a god. Then
That
I'm not sure if you cut out or not on me, but gotcha.
yeah. So Vethod is the Book of Time, and Vether is the God of Time.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take it away here. Nier sat silently in her old home, twisting the old memory shard between her fingers. She relived the memory in her head, wondering how Ryman could be in possession of such a memory. She didn't know who held the brand to her skin. Nothing made any sense, and she knew Ryman wouldn't torture her. So how did he come to obtain such a memory, let alone not tell her about it? As she stewed in her thoughts, Cloud and Avelak talked by the fire.
Hey, Grandia, you're sure?
Yes, in the triangle. Fear was written on Cloud's face. They turned away from each other as Lork kicked in the door, happy as could be, with a basket of fruit tarts. He welcomed them all to the morning and said it was the best day ever. Gil pushed him in the door and told him to get moving. Daylight was burning. Lork handed out breakfast to the crew, who took it without thanks. Rude creatures, you elves, I tell ya. Avelak jumped at him as if to attack. Lork, scared half to death, jumped back silently and huffed and puffed.
Everything all right, child? Nanrana?
She did not speak on... I think I fucked something up here. She did not speak... I don't know what I was typing here. The shard in Gil's hands and made him watch her memory. After it was over, he clutched his head.
Oh, Nier. Why'd you go and watch such a thing?
Why does he have this? Did he do this to me?
That wasn't Ryman, child.
Then who was it?
Gil looked at everyone else in the room, noticing how they all looked at her with sad eyes.
Ryman could tell you were troubled from the moment you arrived. You were angry, hostile. You hadn't eaten properly in years and had screaming fits every night.
That never happened.
It did, child. It was awful. You'd lash out, do all sorts of nasty things with your magic.
Why would I do that? I would remember if...
You were in a rage, child. Defiant. Ryman needed to know what happened. How to help you. So he had the scholars take those memories and lock them away.
But they aren't my memories, Gil. I'm seeing from another person's eyes.
The shards are a strange thing. It's the manifestation of your memory, but it isn't always seen from your own eye. It isn't always the same circumstances that truly happened, but merely the way you remember them.
That doesn't make any sense. This is...
Magic, my dear, isn't always the best indicator of the truth. I was there when they extracted the memories. So long as the shards exist, so too will the memories live within you.
So I'll destroy them.
You cannot! Listen to me, child! These shards are a matter of dark energy. Destroying them will not leave you absent of the memories and their effect on you. It'll release dark energy into the world.
What am I to do, Gil?
You survive, Nier. Go on, and you survive. Just like the rest of us. Use the pain to gain strength. We've all had trials and struggles. It's what makes us who we are.
You sound like him.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Listen to them.
So stupid.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Just stick to the rivers and the lakes like you used to. All right. Don't go comparing me to that blasted Eve. Come along. You've got work to do.
Nier was quiet as Lork came over and gave her a fruit tart. It was still warm in her hands and smelt like cinnamon and apples. Sighing, she put the plate on the table and crossed her arms. You all right? Eugenia made these fresh for you. She remembered how much you loved them apple tarts. Forcing a smile, she picked at her food, pushing her sadness aside, and she took a bite.
It's Eugenia.
Eugenia. It's fantasy for you.
You know, like Mrs. Doubtfire, Eugenia Doubtfire.
Oh my god.
No.
Eugenia is actually my grandma, so that character is named after her.
Oh, my bad.
Well, there you go, Justin. Way to ruin it.
We all call her Irene anyway, so it's okay. But Irene didn't really fit fantasy world, so Eugenia was.
Eugenia.
It's like Benjamin.
Right, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
exactly.
Benjamin.
I see these two are still around. She looked at Cloud and Avella speaking.
Where else would they go?
People are starting to talk, though, asking what they're doing here with you.
If Ryman can walk these streets, so can they.
Ryman is a founder of the Brotherhood. He's respected and feared and trusted. These two are strangers. Can you blame them for being unsure when the elves are invading like this?
I suppose.
We can't have the people thinking Ryman's own kin are allowing traitors inside our gates.
They aren't traitors.
She was just as surprised as everyone else at her outburst of anger. She turned and ate in silence. Once breakfast was over, they walked through the village and stopped at the Shared Wares, a shop that sold clothing and armor. The clerk's name was Mari, and said they were a good-looking bunch and that she hadn't seen many elves around. Asking if they were with Ryman, Gil said they were with him and asked how the kids were. Corin smashed some grapes, and Janny's going to get herself in trouble with her smarts. Gil said they were looking for something for the lads and the little lady, as they would likely get in trouble dressed as they were. She looked at Cloud's outfit and said the stitching was impressive. She didn't know the Palefaces had an eye for fashion. She turned to Avelic and remarked on how good-looking he was, to which Lork took an exception, saying they weren't that good-looking. Near asked what he was doing because it looked like he was flexing his arms, to which he quickly denied. Marie and Gil... Murray, which one is it?
Mari.
What?
Going with Mari?
Mari.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. How are you going to say it?
Oh, because we're going to fuck it up anyways?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really care. It's after my friend Marissa, and I just took the S.A. off her name, so however you want to say it, it's fine.
We'll go Mari. Mari and Gil spoke of what the elves would wear before she went to the back of the shop and came back with 2 bundles of leather armor and took Cloud and Avelic back to the dressing rooms.
Oh, what are you thinking?
I think they'll put up a nice fight.
They can't be as stubborn as Ryman, can they?
As soon as Cloud and Avelic returned, Nier burst out laughing. Avelic's armor didn't fit well at all. Cloud smirked at him. Avelic returned a scowl and was ready to attack when his pants ripped on the butt. Everyone had a laugh, and Mari said they must be too small. He came back a few minutes later wearing better-fitting armor. She took Nier back next and gave her a leather chest piece that had the sigil of the Brotherhood branded into it. She asked how it felt. Nier said she couldn't wear it with that sigil on it. Mari understood and gave her a similar piece that was unbranded to see if it fit. Mari tied her and looked at Nier, saying she was the fiercest damn warrior she'd seen and that she'd knock the elves dead in a second. Nier thanked Mari and said it wasn't the elves she was after. Nier stepped by a shelf as Cloud inspected some gems. She caught Avelic in the corner of her eye looking at her, though it wasn't anger she saw in his eyes any longer. It was something warm. She felt uncomfortable staring too long and looked away, but could still feel the warmth from his eyes on her. They caught up with Lork outside, who thought they should go to the Patched Shack Tavern, a place he and Nier had often visited. The streets of the town were full of humans and Dralids coexisting. That was one of her favorite things about Porster. Even though the Brotherhood was known for the tolerance of outsiders, a vow which the members swore upon entering the rebel faction, the villagers still leered at her friends as if they were less than human. A man spat at their feet when the elves walked by. Nier held her tongue, as it wasn't the right time to make a scene. They wouldn't be staying in Porster long. Once she completed the trials and came home, she didn't want any lingering animosity. Lork tried to comfort her with a hand on her shoulders, but she wasn't in the mood to be comforted. Times like these, she wanted a friend who was more sympathetic to her cause, but she would never wish away her lovable idiot of a friend. A smile crept upon her face, and Lork took notice. With a grin, he wrapped his arms around her shoulder. As they approached the Patch Shack, they could smell meat in the air. Lork opened the door, and everyone went inside. Nier found a table while Lork went to try and win over the barmaid. It was a busy night, many people playing cards and telling stories, many of whom she recognized. She overheard a conversation nearby, the word thorn from a man nearby. He continued saying he had heard he's been seen in Ravenshire. The man's wife said she thought hunters were only a myth. The man said the world had gone to hell in a handbasket, and he'll be happy when the war is over, and the high priest's head is on a spike. Near knew the name Thorn, a famous bounty hunter with the shadow blades. She didn't know much about the hunters other than they were dangerous and not the ones to fuck with. She assumed the order had hired Thorn, as his rate would be more than the average Joe could afford. Lorik arrived with 5 mugs of mead. Gil grabbed his and chugged it because he was a boss. Slamming his mug on the table, he asked where the elves thought the trials were. Near looked at Avelik and could see the anger in his eyes. She hadn't given thought to how freely the term elf had been used towards Cloud and Avelik. She knew it was common for humans to talk down to others, but she knew she should stand up for them.
The Eve, and Cloud says the entrance is in Havsgard.
She noticed that Avelik's look had turned from anger to curiosity.
Ah, that's only a few days from ride from here. What about the lab? You really think he's up to the task? I'd be right to ask the missus to join on our adventure before bringing this mild drinker and his quivering nuggets along.
That was supposed to be milk. Sorry. That was probably an autocorrect.
Bringing this mild drinker.
He's a little spicy. He's like some mild Buffalo Wild Wings.
I can say it if you want me to say it again.
Up to you, man. Whatever.
That's fine.
Whatever
It's
you want
funny
to do.
that way.
I like mild.
It's like mild milk. Lorik took offense, and Gil only shook his head. Near held her mug. This was a thought she had often thought about. She knew Lorik would be at risk if he came, and now with Cloud and Avelik, she thought it would be better to leave him behind.
Lorik, he's right. With everything going on, I think it's best if you stayed behind.
What? You said I could come along. What's changed?
It's getting too dangerous to be around me. You're safer here with the Brotherhood.
Was I safer with the Brotherhood when I helped you escape that brothel? Or when we fought off those creatures that were threatening Joffrey's keep? When I came up with the plan to get that air rune and nearly lost my head?
It's different now.
It isn't. Now that you got some flashy, handsome elves, you think that I'm...
It isn't like that.
Lorik pinched his nose in frustration. It wasn't often he grew irritated, though she knew he was right. They'd been together during the most grueling times, but this journey would test them in ways they hadn't been yet, beyond monsters or mercenaries. Do you remember that promise you had me make years ago? Was that night when you returned from that village the Order destroyed? You said, I've never known evil like I know it with the Order. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to stop them. Then you looked at me and you said, you're the only family I've got. Promise me that if I'm going to die, you'll be there with me at the end. I've been alone my entire life. I don't want to be alone in death too. We're family. Always have been. If this is the end, then I need to be there. I won't have you dying in the arms of no elf.
And if it's you who dies in the trials, what am I supposed to do?
You think I'll be running head first into the fight? Not a chance. Not with you 3 doofs going in first. Whatever's in that cave better be ready, is all I got to say about that. And once it's over, I'll be the greatest bard to ever have lived. This is what being a poet's all about. You know, adventure. She knew she could never lose him, but couldn't bring herself to force his decisions. All throughout her life, her parents, the Order, the Brotherhood, the goddamn world. They all forced her to do things she'd never would have chosen on her own. Had things been reversed and Lorik was to go to the trials, she would resent his decision to leave her behind.
Don't make me regret this.
Not a chance. She forced a smile as she raised her cup to cheer. Mead spilled to the table as their mugs clinked, as they made a silent oath to stick together. As she watched him, deep sadness crept in as the thought of losing him weighed heavy in her mind. She thought about her decisions and wondered if this really was the right path to take, or if fate was nothing more than a children's tale. The thought stuck in her mind as she looked at Lorik and vowed to see him through the journey, even if it cost her everything. I will say, I think this might have been my favorite chapter so far.
Yeah, why is that? Explain.
I really liked Lorik like sticking up for himself, because we kind of see him, you know, through like a lot of the story so far. He's kind of the punching bag, right? Like he's the punchline to the jokes. He's the bait for things, and he knows he's doing this. And now, like, things are getting hard, and he's like, "Fuck it! Like, I'm not bailing on you just because things are going to get hard now." And I think that's really admirable, and I like that.
I love Lorik. Guess you didn't know.
I like him too. And I just like, it would be easy to be like, all right, you guys are going to go on some dangerous like mission or journey. Peace out. Good luck. I'll catch you when you get back. And he's like, he's not doing that. He's not taking the easy way out. Like he knows it's going to be bad. He's already been through like, he's already done a bunch of hard, like dangerous things. And he's still ready and willing to back his friend up. Like he's not going to let her go alone or with these, I guess not alone, but these two people, two elves, Eve, that he doesn't really trust that much.
What do y'all think about Nier allowing him essentially to come along? Because I mean, he's really not needed in this place anymore because she has two elves with her.
I guess I don't know how you leave him behind, because I think if she made him stay behind, you just destroyed that friendship.
You think so?
That's how I feel about it. I mean, I get the. I mean, they're best friends, right? Like Justin, like if you were gonna go do something dangerous, and I'm like, hey, dude, like I'm gonna be right there with you, and you'd be like, nah, I've got it.
I've got more
I'd be like-
capable people with me now.
I'd be like what the fuck, dude? Like we're a team, man. Like you can't like that's not how it works.
Yeah. Is Justin still here? My thing has been messing up a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure because my audio keeps messing up. I don't know. I think my computer's about to die, honestly. I think that's what it is. Because my husband is using the internet and it's perfectly fine for him.
Huh.
But yeah, I have had a lot of people complain to me. Not that it's bad or anything. I don't mean that in like a snide, rude way. Just they have, and they've expressed that they do not like that Nier let him go with her, and they don't like any of that. It kind of like pisses them off, I guess. They have to like vent about it to me or in their reviews. So I don't know. I kind of feel like you guys. I don't know if it would really destroy the friendship, but I feel like his whole purpose with being with her is to write about her journey and to make people see her differently and to do these things with her. And if he really wants to do it and she left him behind, and if she winds up dying or anything can happen, I don't think he could really live with that. Like he's been with her for 10 years, through all these really horrible
Exactly. I don't feel like it's like he's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be the best bard that ever lived." But I think that's like the secondary, I guess, reward or whatever you want to say. Like he wants to be there for his friend. Like if you want to, it's like that old saying. If you want to make sure something's done right, do it yourself. Like I'm sure Cloud and Novelic are capable, but like they're not me. Like I know you, Nier. I should be there. We're going to get through it together. Like, and we'll make it work.
Right. And we've seen time and time again throughout the story where Nier thinks she's got it and she doesn't. And Lorik's got to talk her down, or he's got to go in at the last second and save her. Like if he wasn't there in the cave, she would have died. Like, let's just be real for a second. So he can pull his own. Like he can pull his weight when he has to.
Yeah, his speech about, oh, you remember, years ago when we did this and that. Like, I don't know. It really hit a mark for me, and I really liked it a lot. It was a good speech. Like, I really liked it.
I'm glad you see my vision, because I always thought the same thing. I was like, it makes sense to me. So that's why I was kind of wanting to, talk to other people about it too, just to kind of see what your perspective is on it. Which, I mean, it's fine if people don't agree with it. I can understand why they wouldn't, because when I was writing it, I had her say no. But then I was like, but I want him to be there. And I was like, but anybody with half a brain would say, no, he needs to stay because it's very dangerous and he's not capable enough. And then my husband kind of was on your side a little bit. And he was like, well, they've been best friends forever. And he wouldn't let her go by herself with these two strangers, Yeah,
it's like Sam and Frodo a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. Except,
just to make a Lord of the Rings comparison for you.
Hey, that works. I'll take a Lord of the Rings comparison to my story any day.
I thought it was interesting, Justin, how our chapters, like I had a lot of dialogue in your chapter. You had a lot in mine.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I didn't have a ton of thoughts here. I think my first one, where Gil's talking about this memory that she had, and Nier's kind of realizing this repressed trauma that she's had. And I suppose that would be like a hard thing to like reconcile with. Like you've seemingly forgotten about this terrible thing that happened to you, and then to see it through somebody else's eyes happening to you would be pretty messed up. Like that would be hard to see. I guess would. This is probably not like a perfect like comparison, but like if Justin, if you and I like went out to the bar or something, and without a doubt, I'd probably say something stupid to somebody, and I got my ass kicked, and you just like decided I'm not going to talk about this ever again. It was a bad night, and then I saw like closed circuit TV footage of me just getting the shit kicked out of me. I'd be like, "What the fuck was I doing?" That's kind of how I feel about it. It
Yeah.
would be hard to see that. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
especially
would
if
agree.
especially if you didn't even know that it happened, permanently etched on your body, and now you're seeing how it got there, and there's all these crazy people speaking different languages and stuff.
Yeah, it would be very confusing to say the least. But that whole conversation with Gil, that he has with Nier, he sure seems to know a lot about the shards. And so it made me wonder, like, why does he know so much about them? Is it only because he was a witness to, like, I guess, was he a witness to just the act of having the memory withdrawn, or was he there when she got, like, poked?
I can't remember. I think it says in this chapter that he was there when she had her memories taken. Thought it said in the chapter that he was there.
I guess I didn't know if like did those things. I guess clearly those two things didn't happen simultaneously then.
Well, no, I didn't want to spoil anything if it wasn't in there. That's why I was kind of like, I don't remember if it says it, but he was there whenever she had the memories.
Gotcha. I think that makes sense.
Extracted, like 300 years old, and he's 300 years old, and I think it's written in a footnote maybe that he. No, it's not written in the footnote. It's actually at the back of the collector's edition, so no one would actually know this unless you get the collector's edition, that he's a former member of the Mystic Nine, or he was like involved with them in some way. Let me see what it says. Now I can't remember. I got too much lore going on. I can't remember everything. Let me see. It's on the character profile page at the back of the book. Yeah, he has former affiliations with the Mythic Nine. He also has, he was a former scholar's apprentice. So Gil just knows
so
a lot.
he knows a lot of shit.
He knows a lot. He's been alive for a very long time. He's been around. He's leading the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood has crazy connections all over the place. So widespread information that everybody would know.
I think you skipped a little bit there, but came back.
Sorry.
Hey, that's okay. I feel this way a lot. It happens to me. Justin's probably like, yeah, country pumpkin living in the middle of nowhere with shitty internet.
Oh my god, heard that cackle.
It must be true.
Yeah, I was just saying it's not like widespread knowledge, but Gil he knows a lot. He's been around a long time. He's like really high up with the Brotherhood, and the Brotherhood has a lot of crazy connections, so he's just very, very informed about a lot of different things. He's got a lot of knowledge.
Gotcha. Kind of a secondary thought with that is I think this is probably the most like vulnerable we've seen Nier so far in the story. It definitely seems pretty broken over this, which I get. Like, again, that would be a hard thing to see, and then you're like, I don't remember any of this. Like, that's got to be just a mind fuck. You're like, how do you forget something like this? And I can't imagine, but yeah, it's got to be just really hard.
Yeah, and then she's wondering if it was Ryman that did it to her too. So that's really messing with her head, because that's what she thinks happened at first, So.
Well, yeah, I wonder what his involvement is. Is what Gil said, the truth, or is he just kind of protecting her some more? I don't know. It seems a little bit like an unreliable narrator. A little bit. Is he really telling her the truth? It's just kind of hard to say right now.
I would hope he'd be telling the truth because I like Gil. That's all I gotta say.
I don't know. We know that Ryman made her stand outside for hours in the rain, shooting arrows. So who's to say he couldn't do worse things?
Ryman seems very, at least by how she's described him, he seems very, what is it, like, to anything to meet the ends or whatever, like the ends justify the means.
There you go. Yeah.
Kind of how he seems.
I would agree.
Mead. Have you guys ever tried mead?
I have not.
Oh, I did once. It was fucking disgusting. But maybe it was because I was in Alabama, so maybe it wasn't the best mead around. I don't know, but I did not like it.
Alabama mead. I'm going to say that's probably not the best mead that you're going to find somewhere. Just going off on a limb here because I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know where the prime mead making market is, but I don't know. I didn't like it. It was, I couldn't even describe it to you. I mean, it was high alcohol content. It was like 10%, but I could not finish it. Is this my last thought here? My next one? No, I got two more. So the Shadow Blades, those were the people that were hunting near, like in the cave towards the beginning of the story, right?
Yes, that is the mercenary group.
Excuse me. That is what I thought.
And Nier believes that they were contracted, I guess if you want to say, by the Order of Sorrow to, I mean, yeah, they were contracted by the Order of Sorrow to find her. So, yes, Thorn is a bounty hunter with the mercenaries that are trying to kill her.
I hear the word Thorn and I think of Sir Alistair Thorne from Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's funny. Every time I see Corrin, and you'll see Corrin a lot in my books. I think there's two of them in this one. I think a Corrin Halfhand from...
Yeah.
Every time.
Oh, just so you know, HC, I did start reading Fire and Blood, not Predator.
Come on, man. The series isn't even finished. What's the point?
I got to read Fire and Blood before season 2 of House of the Dragon comes out.
Oh, boo. After season 6 of Game of Thrones, I lost interest.
That's to be legit. That's legit.
I really didn't hate it as much as everybody else.
Did you watch it like as it was coming out, or did you watch it after you knew it was going to be terrible and you just streamed it? Because that makes a difference.
Oh, no, I watched it every week.
All right, then your opinion is invalid. Thank you, Justin, for having a good opinion.
I realized it was probably the best ending to the story that we're going to get, as, yes, that book series will probably not be finished, but I'm hopeful that maybe we get the Winds of Winter. But, it's only been like 12, 13 years, whatever it's been now.
He's only like 70 now. I'm sure we got time.
I think he's
Not
closer to 80
finishing that
than he is
series.
70.
Oh, wow.
There's no way he's going to finish it. How do you come up with something that doesn't suck? I mean, you can't go the route the TV show did, right? Because everybody fucking hated it. So what do? You're left in this.
He's 75.
I mean,
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson took over for Terry Pratchett, right? Wasn't that who it was? Wheel of Time?
Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan, yeah, that's it.
But George Martin has said he does not want anybody taking over to finish it for him. He made that abundantly clear.
Finish it, dude. We're just going to take it over after you die. Like, let's just be
I think we might get... I'm hopeful we get the Winds of Winter, but I don't think he's going to finish the damn series. We'll see, I guess. Yeah. Well, anyways, back to your book, HC. My last my last thought here is this silent oath that Nier and Lorik make to each other. I wonder if it'll hold up, or along their journeys, is something else going to force them apart? Are they going to get separated? Something like that. And I kind of wonder if this will be maybe not a reverse of tropes. Rescuing the damsel in distress. Maybe Nier's going to rescue Lorik.
He's the damsel in distress.
Yes, that'll be my little prediction here.
Let's earmark that. Come back to it later. See if you're right.
I can live with that.
Well, this was good. This was fun. I liked all the dialogue.
It is a lot of fun when we do have a lot of dialogue, I think. I do enjoy that. I have a lot of fun doing it. Like I said, I think chapter, what was it, 22? Mm-hmm. 21 and 22 we did. I think chapter 22 is probably my favorite one so far. I guess, we've got, how many more chapters do we have? 16 or something?
I think is there 38 chapters, maybe? Something like that.
Then that would be 16, right? Math's not my strong suit, but...
Better than me. 38 chapters.
So we'll see what happens here. I'm also excited to keep reading, and I want to get to these other art page inserts and look at those.
Yeah, you do.
I got a little bit to go before we come up to one, but I'm not cheating and I'm not looking at those.
All right. I don't believe you.
I really have not. I don't want to spoil it for myself. Yeah, the little page insert thingies, the pictures.
Yeah, those are good. Those, you're going to have to wait a while. Let's see, we're on 22. I feel like the next one isn't until like 30 something. Yeah, so we still have a while to go. They're all kind of in the back of the book. Sorry about that. But I have to go make dinner because I'm starving to death.
Well, you both gotta eat, right?
Making Korean barbecue for dinner.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I've never had it, but I've always wanted to try it. So we got the ingredients. So now we're going to make it.
Oh, I see. American barbecue is just not good enough for you, huh? Well, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for taking the time here out of your day again to talk with us again about your book. I think I can speak for both of us when I say we definitely appreciate it a lot. Having you on makes it a lot more fun to have you on doing this with us.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're all just friends now hanging out, talking about me. So, of course, I'll be there.
That's fair.
Going back to the arrogant conversation. All right. Sounds
Well, I guess we'll wrap this up then. I don't know. I don't think I've got anything else. I made my prediction. I think somewhere by the end of the book, Nier's going to rescue Lorik. That's my big, bold prediction for this book.
Putting that one on the board. We'll see if you're right.
big, bold prediction.
Lorik, damsel in distress. Got it.
Jot it down.
All right. It's on the board. We'll see if you're right.
Justin, you got anything?
I've got nothing, man.
Well, HC, thank you again. Enjoy your barbecue of the
Thank you for
Korean
having me.
variety.
Thank you for everyone who is listening. We love you.
Yeah, we'll talk soon here. Probably
All
in like another 2 weeks or so.
Whenever y'all need. We don't have to be on a schedule. If, like I said before, if it's becoming too much, we can always do one chapter at a time, or just whenever you guys can fit me in will work for me too. I don't want you to.
I don't think 2 chapters is too much. Yeah, next week we'll do Malazan. The week after that, I would think we can probably talk with you again, and then the week after that, which will be the first weekend in February 3rd. We got to dial in a time yet, but Justin and I are going to talk with Philip Chase about what chapter are we on. We'll be on chapter, I think, 10 for Malazan then.
Awesome.
So that's kind of our little schedule for now.
Philip's awesome, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, looking
You'll
forward.
have to tune in then.
What?
Justin, I don't know if you know, he is an author himself. He's written a trilogy of books that are out.
Oh, really?
They seem to be pretty successful too. He seems to be pretty popular.
Yeah, they seem to be. I don't have any of them yet, but yeah, they're on the list. I did just buy Zach Argyle's trilogy of books today because I got all 3 of them for $25 shipped.
Nice.
So I guess he had a bunch of books returned to a bookstore and he was trying to get rid of them. Anyways, HC, go make your barbecue. We'll talk soon. Bye.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
You too. See you soon.
Bye.
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 DMJ's Epic Quest. DMJ's Epic Quest. DMJ's Epic Quest. CMJ's Epic Quest. CMJ's Epic Quest. CMJ's Epic Quest. CMJ's Epic Quest.